Alrighty, Saturday morning endurance ride. I was meant to do this last night, but I was on dad duty, so it's happening this morning. I'm not sure what bike I'm on today. What am I on? The TCR. Let's switch that up. It's just a cruise ride today. I have 3 drink bottles and 2 energy bars, well, muesli bars. So we'll get through those. That's how long the ride's going to take until I get through my food. Alrighty, garage. Let's have a look at what crazy bike I can choose. I think we'll go the Buffalo bike. That's always a bit of a laugh for a cruisy ride. Ventum, no, Buffalo. There we go. Okay, and wheel set. We're going to go crazy bike. Let's go the disc wheel, because why not? Yeah, looks good. Done. Alrighty. 33 viewers. Good morning. Or good morning here. Good evening wherever, or good afternoon wherever you are. The new streaming setup. Still tinkering with the setup, making sure it's all looking good. I've capped VSync on, so you'll see in the top left-hand corner 60 frames. It's never going to go more than 60 frames, which should free up some resources. This unit can go a lot higher than that, but it's using too many resources that I just can't see. So capping it at 60 frames, which frees up OBS, the broadcasting stuff for the encoding. We'll see how it goes. I streamed over on Twitch the other day, and it is so much better than YouTube, I've got to say. Twitch just takes the stream and makes it look so much nicer. So it's not the encoder, it's not this end. It's the ingress server. So we'll see how we go. Hopefully the graphics look alright on this. Fingers crossed. This is why I did the upgrade the other day. I'll go through the upgrade in a couple of days on the channel, just to show people what I've done and why. But winter is coming here, so the machine I was on was from 1990. Oh, sorry, 1990. What am I thinking? 2016, 17, I think. So it had quite an older graphics card in it. On the Neo bike again today, just clocking up a lot more Ks on the Neo bike before I do my configuration review. We're this close to a new firmware coming out for the bike, so I've been hanging out for that because the configuration options are a little limited. So I want to make sure I cover the user experience that a lot of people will have when they buy the bike. If I was to cover it now with limited options, and people don't see the follow-up videos, it's a bit of a shit. So coming soon. Did the Hump Day Ride Americas race the other day on a members only stream. Again, just testing all of this. The bike held up okay in the race. I was holding, when the after party lap took off, I was holding 300 watts, which is pushing me a little bit at the moment. And I was falling back through the bunch. I couldn't believe it. So I was a bit disappointed. And I backed off. But the draft still kept me in the bunch. Then the racing brain kicked in and the Zwift effect. So I hung in there. I thought, oh, I'll see how I go. It's always the way. You just suffer a little bit more. And I found myself in the front lead bunch. About 5k to go. And then with Zwift, the secret is you'll never win in a short kick sprint. Like you'll never kick around someone. You'll lead it out way before. So I think I started at my ramp up sprint at about 800 meters to go. Maybe 700. Did alright. Held the position I was in. It was funny, there was a small gap between the lead 12 or 15 as we're coming into the very last section. Probably a K to go, and I'm not going to close that. Kicking myself. I should have closed the little gap and just kept on with that speed. But race tales. What could have been and what would have been, hey? But what never really is. We've got a million. Alrighty, on to the questions coming through here in the chat. Good morning from the UK, 4 p.m. in Canada. Stephen, is it snowing there? I've been seeing a lot of snow pictures from that side of the world. Yeah, Mixer's next up. The problem that I have streaming to something like Mixer or anything that's not YouTube, my people aren't there. So we ticked over the 100,000 subscribers here on YouTube. This is why I want to keep everything on YouTube, rather than tell people to go somewhere else and miss out. Quality-wise, though, it's so much better. Oh, we have a visitor. We might get some feet in the shot in a minute. Hey, little bub. Good morning. Hey. You want to say hello with your toes? Yeah, we get some toes in the shot. Hang on. Oh, there we are. How many watts are those putting out, mate? Little Maxie. Loves the bikes. Loves watching bikes. Loves watching Groundhog Day last night, was it, mate? Yeah? Bill Murray when you couldn't sleep? Quality entertainment with Groundhog Day. Yeah. Oh, good to see you, Maxie. What's up with those feet on the green screen? We should put you in a little green suit, man. Horizontal rain, Stephen. Horrible. That's the worst kind of rain. What do you think, Von? Horizontal rain? Or the rain that hurts your face? That's even worse. Oh, good. Cycling Sean, watching the Dirt Digglers with you on Thursday with Sean McAfee's channel. Yeah, that was the team time trial stuff. Those boys go hard. I think Sean averaged 3:04 for 45 minutes. Now, if your FTP's 300 or 320, 340, 360, whatever it is, you look at that and think 300 for 45, yeah, that's doable. Not the over and under style riding that we're doing though. Brutal. So I really respect the effort those guys are doing. There's no way I could hang on to that. Hell no. Even with an FTP of 300, to do an over and under, an average 300, the way they ride, brutal. Oh, Dennis, Max has the biggest sprinter legs you would not believe. Unfortunately, the kid won't be winning Tour of Bright or any hilltop finishes in his lifetime. His legs, huge baby legs. Such a good kid. Very proud to be a dad. Takes up a lot of time, but hey, it's more important than anything else I could be doing. It really is. The kid is fantastic. We went to the bike store yesterday to drop off some cleats. The post office to post off some pedals. He runs errands with me. He loves it. Thoughts on Pioneer selling to Shimano? Discussed those the other day. Oh, got a big bunch coming up behind us. Let's have a look. Oh, hello. Who's in this one? So I'll get back to the Shimano Pioneer stuff in a sec, but here's why I got an upgraded PC. To show this nice and smooth in the bunch. Oh, it's a Tron factory. Look at that. Team Tron. Hell yeah. Haven't ridden the Tron for a while myself. Good stuff. Oh, there we go. If anybody in the stream knows what group that is, yeah, give them a shout out in the comments. Hopefully that's coming through nicely on the stream. I hope so. I've been tweaking the settings. Hoping it all looks good. If I go full screen, there we go. It's a tricky one with YouTube and being in Australia. I don't think there's any local ingest servers here, so it could be a little laggy. We'll see. Still tweaking the setup. Looking good. All right, back to me. Here we go. I'll get to the questions in a sec. So Shimano buying Pioneer. It was a weird one. The communication around that was they didn't technically buy them. They took over their assets for the software. I don't think Shimano needed any of their tech in regards to just gluing a strain gauge externally to a Shimano crank. I think they've got that right. Got that technique right. Not making it an accurate power meter right. Left side only Shimano cranks, fine. They do the job. It's the right side that we see issues with. Bitrate could be higher. Yeah. It's at 6,000 at the moment. I'll try and bump that next time, but hopefully it's okay to get through. I've got the mic a little closer today because good audio is probably more important than good visuals. This is a good endurance. I've got to have enough breath to talk succinctly. Bit of an oxymoron with me. I tend to murder the English language. Okay, Pioneer, Shimano. Pioneer were 100% reliant on Shimano. They didn't have their sensors on any other crankset. Stages, 4i, I think in peak. Who else do slap on strain gauge power meters to Shimano cranks? Giant. All of those. Actually, Giant are fully reliant on Shimano cranks. So if Shimano were to change the crank design this year with the new Dura-Race road stuff, they're out of business. Oh, and they stopped them from putting those strain gauges on the cranks. They're out of business. The fact that the crankset wasn't an industry-leading crankset in regards to accuracy, I'm talking lab-style accuracy, what I need here. And they also had a patent on the pedal monitor mode. So I think Pioneer probably exited because they knew they were probably at the end of the line or something different was coming. And Shimano may have wanted that patent or the IP. So yeah, we'll see how we go with that. I really hope Shimano come out with a kick-ass crankset that solves all the problems and everyone loves. I like the look of the Shimano crankset. If you follow Cat3 memes over on Instagram, you'll see why the structure of that crankset's probably not the best either. I'm not talking power accuracy. They kind of break in humid conditions. The squeaking you hear, it's the leather on my shoes. On the Neo bike, which is absolutely silent. I want to chase that bunch, but I'm on a cruise ride. Cruise ride, okay. Further questions. How can you measure one's baby watts per kilo? Probably by the amount of nappy changes. PC build and spec am I running, Thomas? I went and purchased a HP Omen Tower. My very first job when I was 14, I think it was building PCs. I used to build 386 SXs with what, 2 meg of RAM, 4 meg of RAM, 40 megabyte hard drives. So back in the mid 90s, I was building PCs for a local company after school. So I know all about building PCs and did that for many, many years. Nowadays, I just want to go buy something that works. I've got too many other rabbit holes that I'm down. I could have purchased all the parts, built it together, and saved myself maybe a few $100s. But the beauty with this one is I could just walk into the store. They were in stock. They were here locally. I wheeled the pram in, dad life, put the box under the pram, front counter, and walked out. And it has a return to store warranty. So that's exactly what I was after. This does the job. So it's an i7. I'll get you the specs actually. System information. It's an i7 Gen 9, 9700. With a NVIDIA 2060 RTX. There goes the bunch. Now you probably won't see it here on the screen, but in 4K, which I'm now running this, big long story to tell about the screen upgrade too. I can see that bunch in the distance and I can tell it's a bunch. Well, it's only a couple of pixels now. Previously in lower resolutions, I couldn't even see that far up the road. And doing the hump day ride the other night, you could really tell there was a group up and working in a pace line. So you can just see a little further now. Even those riders there coming around the corner, just their positioning, you can just, it just looks better. I can see 2 riders up in the distance now. So it just adds to a little bit more realism that you can see a little further. It's like putting glasses on after not being able to see for a while. Craig, I'm riding for 3 drink bottles and 2 muesli bars. No idea, mate. Just jumping on, getting some Ks done. Just an endurance ride. It was meant to be last night, but little Max wouldn't sleep. So we watched Groundhog Day together. Alrighty. Do helmets make a difference to speed? Well, outside they do, absolutely. In game, I think they do. ZwiftInsider.com should have all the answers for that. It's a very good question though. If Zwift Insider has that information, I might just do a Zwift tip on that one. Every component on the bike has a CDA value within Zwift, so there's a lot more detail than you'd expect. Though there's no drag on the front brake on that. That's hilarious. Hat tip to Scotty Weiss for the idea of the Buffalo bike with a disc. I think he was the first one spotted using that a few years back. Any updates on the mountain bike power pedals? No. What are SRM doing? That's the question that I have. They announced those. Seems to be a theme of the industry to announce and not release. SRM, were they the exact mountain bike pedals or they call them something else for that? Just haven't seen them. In the meantime, Vero came along and we hacked up those to the SPDs. Away we go. Yeah, GPU is the RTX 2600. Sorry, 2060. Code names. God, don't get me started on code names for devices. Searching for televisions, that's one of the hardest things to do. I needed low lag input for the television that I've got in front of me here to drive this new machine. And code names for televisions are different between different markets. So you jump on the web, which is global. The US has a different code name to Europe, different to the UK, and different to Australia. But I found one that was budget and low input lag, which in front of me here looks great. 0 front brake equals 0 drag, exactly. Alrighty. Drops the feather, why not? 1% grade, marginal gains. Alrighty, other questions. Yeah, building PC. I love the idea of tinkering. I do that with my bikes. The last thing I need is to tinker around and then have one component that I sourced from somewhere else fail on a new build, and then trying to diagnose that. If you've got access to a ton of that stuff, it's fine. You can swap parts out. But this just worked. It was just an unboxing pleasure. Out of the box, press the button, agree to all the terms and conditions, and it booted up. Zwift Insider says helmets have no change. Bum bum bum. Really? We need to campaign for that. They have to change. Von's been doing the Sufferfest workouts. Yeah, Von's doing the tour of Sufferlandria with Dave and the crew on the kicker bike. Yeah, she's loving it. I'm loving it. I get to spend some time with Max, keep him entertained, and yeah, hard work though, I think. Alright, we'll start on the drink bottles. Today's drink bottles are supplied by Team Movistar, women's team. This bottle was collected in a cornfield in northern Italy near the women's time trial for the Giro Rossa. Von, Ray, Des and I went and grabbed some lunch in a little town that was starting their time trial. Yeah, even this bottle has a story. Story time with Lama. And We're walking up to the time trial start to grab some footage and check out the action. And in this cornfield, literally a cornfield in town, I saw this bright blue bottle. And I like the Elite Fly bottles, so I think Ray might have got a photo of me like getting through the cornfield, grabbing it, and it stood out like a proverbial blue bottle in a cornfield. So that's where this bottle came from, and it came home from Italy. I have the thermal bottle too. I'm resorted to using thermal bottles indoors. They keep cool indoors too. That's kind of handy. Alrighty. The Zwift game engine appears to be not the most optimized. Yeah, I'd agree with that. It they aim it at, and I think lead developer or founder John Mayfield had said the other day on Reddit, it's aimed at people who run Microsoft Excel on their machines. For good reason, it's a training tool. It'd just be nice to be totally optimized though. Like a game. They might get there. It just requires more work though. Any prospect on Favero getting a license to produce pedal bodies other than manufacturers like Time, SPDSL and Speedplay? Oh, I wish. I'm back on Shimano cleats, SPDSLs on this bike because we know the tax bike is accurate. Done all that testing, looks pretty good for the Lama lab test. There's a few other edge cases I need to look at before I do the full accuracy review. And the new firmware coming soon. But for Favero to get those patents, it'd be a big win for them. The mountain bike pedal body hack was very, very popular. I love innovation. I love seeing new stuff, new toys. Everyone watching, 127 concurrent viewers. If you have a new bike, you want to ride. If you've got a new bit of kit, bike computer, if there's a Zwift upgrade, you want to ride. So when those mountain bike hack, Favero, they didn't allow it. They didn't technically allow that hack. But when that was made known over in the Trainer Road forums, I just wanted to get my hands on some. And I did. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Even this setup here, I've upgraded the PC. I want to ride indoors. It's a nice day outside, but I've got to get more time on this tax bike. I'm going to be talking about it, comparing them. I can't just do a short ride, and so it is what it is. So we'll see how we go after a few hours. Okay, the first thing is the saddle has to go. Ugh. Wish there would a live stream saddle change. And for those thinking I'm doing the Epic Com, not going to happen. That's not a cruise ride. Ride feel? None. Bum bum bum. I need a little meme. Hang on, why am I not getting bridge feel on this thing? Menu, settings, Tax Neo, road feel. Oh, I've been exposed. No one saw that. That defaulted back. Tax Neo road feel is on, but I'm not getting that. Nobody saw that I had the trainer difficulty set to. It's always on max. It's always. Von must have. No, I'm just kidding. It's a fresh install of Zwift, and it defaults to half. I don't know why it was on half though. Leaderboards, that's fine. Imperial metric, image uploading, yeah. Group chat show, language filter off. Give me the swears. Workout pain effect off. Don't give me the shakes. Neo road feel on. Back. Unless it's just not applying on the bridge. I've got to do these chill rides more often. This is much easier than trying to slaughter myself and hang with a group. And the chat's good too. Sorry if I'm missing your questions. If I've missed your question, just repost. There's a question there about Zwift getting Scotty Weiss a hard time. I think that all comes down to just data verification. So I think that's all. If they've provided him an avenue of how to verify his rides or verify what's going on, cool, that's good. You just need to follow process there. One thing I will say is Scotty is a strong rider, regardless of the numbers. Don't care. Controversy, whatever. He is a super, super strong rider. So hopefully that can be all resolved. Nice guy too. Met Scotty a few times. Alrighty, don't blame me, Von says. Must have been Max then, Von, hey? Oh, good. Now tell me, who's that verified New Zealander behind me? Zwifters. Number 163. HBA. So I'm not up with James Foosh. Right on, James. Where are we? We go phone focus. Keep James right on. 21-year-old from New Zealand. 57 Ks. Nice one. 4.4 watts. He ain't out for a cruise. He's training hard. Good job. Alrighty. Questions. Is the Cyclops Hammer 1 still a good trainer today? Finding it for $5.99 USD. Whoo. Hammer 1. Yeah. I think the conclusion or the summary from the Hammer was Cyclops built themselves a kicker. That's pretty much what it is. The Hammer 1 has a bit of a hum to it, like the original kicker. So there's that. The Hammer H3, very, very quiet. H2, they said it was quiet. It really wasn't a lot quieter. The H3 would be the pick, though, of the 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, it's a good price. If you can purchase locally, if there's any issues, you can take them back. Why smart trainers have such a hard time for breakdowns? They're given a really hard time. They've packed a ton of electronics into a small space. They've had to make it nice and heavy, and it has to dissipate a ton of heat. If you're generating, well, here, 160 watts. If you were to touch a 160 watt light bulb, even a 60 watt light bulb, be careful doing that. It's hot. That heat has to go somewhere. So the heat that energy I'm generating there has to go somewhere. Typically that's into the flywheel of a smart trainer or any trainer that's providing resistance and converted to heat. And heat does bad things to electronics and power meters. So if you can purchase locally, the original Hammer overheat, exactly. Collective Satori. There are a few firmware updates for that later on in its life, but if it was a physical issue, as I discussed with the heat dissipation, you're never going to get around that with firmware. If you put a fan on the trainer, almost any trainer will operate a little better over longer periods of time with a fan pointed at it. It's just how it is. I don't think you'll see that on any support ticket or support FAQ website. Here, purchase this expensive trainer and put a $40 fan pointed at it. It does depend on the level you're riding at too. If you're a Clydesdale, 100 kilos plus, pushing out 300, just ticking along. Hey, buddy. I can wave. Ready? Can I wave on this bike? Road feel is on. There we go. This bridge has road feel on the Neo bike. Boom. Felt like the chain was coming off though. Here we go. Get some dirt on your shirt. And that team has their own kit in game. Hello from Sweden. Hey Sweden, how you doing? Ant Plus or Bluetooth to connect to your devices in Zwift. How about we go do the dirt route and jump on the mountain bike through the dirt section? That'll be a cool cruise. Let's get that done. That's some fun. They've now nerfed all the other bikes, slowed them down that aren't dirt bikes. Actually, we'll go ride the Grail. Yeah. Okay, we'll get that done. Just jumping back to the questions. Again, if I've missed the question, go again. Just keep hammering me. I'll get to them. So Ant Plus or Bluetooth, it depends. I like Ant Plus for the simplicity and that I can connect everything to it. It's been around longer than Bluetooth for connecting these devices. So I'm mostly Ant Plus. Bluetooth is drawing me in though. No dongles, no extension cables. I think it's stable now. It is through to iOS devices, Apple devices. So it depends on the setup. Hi Lama, at 750 AUD, can I beat the Elite Zumo? Second-hand kicker. Yeah. But new? That's probably a good deal. Just trying to think what other... The core is still right up there. But in Australia they're, I think, still $1,100. They're still quite expensive. They're not $750. Unless you're tempted by the second-hand market to save a few dollars that way, that might be it. The Snap would get close, but it's not a direct drive unit. Oh, who set my resistance to 100%? Oh. All right, what gears do we have on here? 3630. Virtual gear configuration on the Tacx Neo is handy. You can't change the gears on the fly though. The kicker bike, you can change the gear on the fly. So if I was spinning up here or grinding up here, I could load the app, change the rear virtual cassette. Oh, that dude through the grass. Cyclocross season, is it? But the Tacx Neo bike, you have to choose your cassette first. Once you're connected, it won't go anywhere. Hey Don, how you doing? I'm having a fantastic morning. I've had a coffee. I've been spewed on only once by Max. Oh, Dennis has got some lag there. How was indoor training before Zwift and smart trainers? Good question, Dennis. You've asked about 30 times there. You must have some connection issues. I was into all of this well before Zwift came along. I had a Cyclops Fluid 2, I think I started with. I blew 3 of those up. And my career of testing stuff started there, pretty much. So the fluid kept leaking out of the Fluid 2s. Good warranty though by Cyclops. That was 15 years ago plus. And then moved over to the road machine, the green kinetic road machine, not the rock and roll. Unbreakable. Still probably the best wheel-on, non-smart, unbreakable trainer out there. The green machine. The intervals there were just simply playing YouTube videos. Might have even been before YouTube. What was YouTube, 2006? Would have been before that. Music, staring at the wall. Coach Troy came along, Spinavals, Legend, CTS training DVDs. Then the internet came along. Well, being able to stream videos and things on the internet. A story behind my first kicker. Being into all the technology early on, we purchased a kicker, unit number 66, anti-ID, so quite early, if they're sequential numbers, which they probably are. Had the kicker for a while, but nothing lit it up. There was nothing to connect to it. I knew the potential of it. Being into computer games for many, many years, I knew that this would be possible, but no one did it. And then I was 2 weeks off selling my kicker original. I was done with smart training. We don't need a smart trainer to train, to specifically train for intervals. For the time trials and races I was doing, the Le Mans was fine. Still is, but no through axle support. So Von was using it as well. My wife, she was racing and training at the same time. We weren't really that impressed with it. So 2 weeks off selling it, I got my invite to Zwift Beta. And everything changed. And it's not just me being a fanboy of Zwift. The industry changed. Big time. And there's no question about that. So we got swept up in that massive wave of uptake. I was doing Sufferfest early on as well. We did the Sufferfest Knighthood and Sufferfest workouts. But Zwift came along and just clobbered everything. And it's the social side. The experience it provides physically isn't that different. Erg mode, well, Train Your Own does erg mode very, very well. So that's not different. Sim mode, hey dirt dudes, I'm trying to wave, but my little dude's not waving back. Where is the wave? I've got a keyboard that has the function keys with another control key, it's not working. So yeah, extensive experience training prior to smart trainers coming along. And no, we don't need them. Like power meters, we don't even need power meters, but I dare not say that. They're crucial for things like this, but for training to get fast, there's other methods that work so well as well. They just optimize the experience and quantify your workouts and your load. DJ Hunter, any ETA on the Hunts review? It's been hovering on the buy button for weeks. They're still on the bike, first of all. With the Hunts, I had one loose spoke on the rear wheel. Been a while since I've had a loose spoke. Disc brakes put a lot of different load on a wheel than rim brakes, not only, especially the rear. You'd be pushing the bike forward and pulling the bike the other way. So I had to, mid-ride, had to fix a spoke up myself. That was interesting. And they do have water ingress on the rear, the front too. It doesn't drain very well. No issue with the Hunts, they address it on their website. If you go for a ride in absolutely horrible, horrible rainy conditions, the rear rim will fill with water. Not a good thing. Other than that, they're brilliant. They roll well. I don't have any quantifiable data though. So if people say they're crap in a wind tunnel, they roll slow, yeah, okay. It's not as if it's like a power meter where you can really test the thing. Well, you can if you've got a wind tunnel. Don't have a wind tunnel. But the extra width looks cool. They roll well. I put them on with GP 5000s, clinches with latex tubes, which have held up really well. So the wheels, yeah, they're still on the bike. The water ingress one, it's a bit of a, I don't ride a lot in the wet. If you're in the UK, if you're doing a lot of riding in the wet, you'll have to steer clear of that that model. Other than that, should you buy a Kicker 18 or a Tax Neo 2T? Kicker or Neo always comes up. I'll get back to the other questions I've missed too in a sec. Just a cruisy ride, so I should be able to get to them with a bit of breath left. You can't go wrong with either. If you've ridden both, carefully side by side noting the differences. There are a few small nuances with the difference between the two. So first of all, you can't go wrong with either. They're the top of the range from Wahoo and from Tax. The Kicker model has a real flywheel. The 18 has a massive flywheel on it that kicks over nicely. So you can go on top of the gear. It doesn't give you free watts. There is a misconception that those trains will give you free watts. If you stop pedaling and the flywheel still moves, there's no watts. So there's no free lunch. So at FTP and above, a lot of people find they like the Kicker more because it replicates more riding outdoors, depending on how smooth your pedal stroke is, because it will kick over. The dead spots probably fly a little bit further forward, if that makes sense. Having said that, if you've never ridden one, you really won't know that actual feel. Neo 2T, yeah, it's a Neo, which people love. Dead quiet. Oh, by the way, it's spin downs on Kicker 18, Kicker Core, once every 6 weeks, once every 8 weeks. No problems. You don't need to spin down a Kicker every ride. The older first version was a bit finicky with its actual physical strain gauge. You had to do that quite often. So Neo 2T, well, okay, so comparing them both, Kicker 18 and Neo 2T, both quiet. both support through axle, both accuracy wise, no major dramas with either. Major dramas. If you're down to the 1 or 2 watt area, it depends on the flywheel speed and things. But look, that'd be fine. For 99% of people, that'd be fine. Price wise, I guess, local support, if you can buy one locally, that might sway your preference. My preference is always to try and buy locally if you can. If you have any issues, you can take it back to the store. Those things aren't service free. So after a few thousand Ks, you might need a new cassette, a bit of oil, a bit of free hub servicing if you're not confident doing that yourself. If you buy it from a bike store that's familiar with those trainers, it'll be a good way to go. Support wise, well, Tax is now Garmin. And it's hard for me to comment on support because as soon as I raise a ticket, they have a look at who's raised it and I may get priority or they may jump on it quicker. So the way I judge customer service these days is by forum posts and people's comments. Oh, grinding, road feel, time to swap bikes. So it really depends. So Tax used to do all their support, and I think still do, out of the Netherlands. That should soon be moving to worldwide with Garmin, which is a good thing. Possible teething issues with that, but I wouldn't read into anything you've read online this week about that. Yeah, go on a case-by-case basis. Someone did post up on the Tax group the other day. They had a really good support experience with that, with their Neo 2 not working, and they got a 2T in replacement. That's a good thing. All right, brakes on. Oh, it's hard to pull those brakes on. What bike are we going to go for on the dirt? Let's go have a look what's in the garage. Frame. Oh, I've got to stop, don't I? Okay, so I can't choose a bike until I stop. Bang. Let's do it. So dirt bikes are faster. Canyon. Grail. Look at those handlebars. Lol. And the fat tires. So in 4K, this new machine, I can see, I'm in full screen, yeah. You can see the level of detail. And here's a trick for young players. That's a mechanical group with the rear derailleur here, so you can see that. And when Zwift try and replicate a Di2, all they do is they take that cable off. They don't put a Di2 derailleur on because that little port for the cable is still there. That's the kind of nerd level of detail that you can see. Oh, did I not swap to that bike? It's the nerd level of detail you can see. Oh, that's the shop. There we go. I don't swap bikes that often, do I? I have the Grail in the garage. Where are we? Apologies if I've missed your question. I'll get back to them in a sec. Canyon. Grail. Why can't it be Di2? Why do I have a virtual mechanical bike? What color? Can I go? It's red on the spectrum. Must be just this television. Purplish. Did I not swap to that again? My word, I'm having a... Sorry, I'm just new to Zwift, as you can tell. Riveting streaming here. Why did that not... My garage frame, yeah. I'm on it. Did that... There's no equip. Did that not... Okay. Sorry, I'm a little delusional here. That should work. Camera angle 0. Ah! Magnificent. Kind of suits me, doesn't it? Not the hair. Or the green tyres. It's bloody horrendous. Let's ride. Alright. About the hunts, would be for a rim brake. Look, we've got the, Von and I both run the Hunt Aero 30s, I think they are, the alloy versions. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant wheels. cheap. I think they were around $500 or $600 Australian, delivered. A few days delivery. I was after a set of wheels that roll well. 19mm internals, so that pushes the tyre a little fatter than a 17mm internal. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Highly recommended the Hunts for the alloy version. The carbon ones, there's some catches. There's some catches. Okay, cool. Now I'm cruising on the gravel. I will get back to everyone's questions. I'll fire through. If I've missed it, please post again. Hunts are... Okay, Tom, recently purchased a Wahoo Kicker Snap. Doesn't have any cadence. Do I think it'll have the cadence update or buy a cadence sensor? No indication of any of the updates from Wahoo on the Snap for cadence. I think they said it was a possibility, but only the Core and the Kicker 18 got those virtual cadence upgrades recently. So I'd go out and grab yourself a cadence sensor, or even better, go all the way. Grab yourself a power meter for the bike. All bike power meters come with cadence anyway. They need that to calculate power. And then you will never have to do a spin down of the Snap again. That's a win-win. It's only going to cost you a couple of £100 more. But hey, life's short. Did I turn around? I'm just new to Zwift. I did too. I wonder what they're going to build through there one day. Alright, road field's back on. Like it's a cruise ride, I'm not actually going anywhere specific. I'm lost. I'm having trouble swapping bikes. Okay, so Zwift has disabled the fence until further notice. Is that right, Troy? Wasn't aware of that one. Interesting. So if you're in a bunch ride, the ride leader did have an option to put a fence on. And if anyone went beyond that fence, you get zapped and kicked out of the bunch ride. Keeps everyone together. If it's a group ride, you shouldn't be off the front anyway. It's a group ride. If you're in a race, obviously doesn't matter. So I do agree with the fence and what it does. Yeah, a bit buggy lately though. Okay, Don asks, without using something like the Amp Plus to Bluetooth device that I showed before, is there any way to connect more than 2 devices to a phone for Zwift? 2 devices to a phone. Let's go... Actually, there's not going to be anybody jungle reverse. Let's go jungle forward. Phones shouldn't have any issues connecting multiple Bluetooth devices, not like Apple TV. Apple TV has a limit of 2 devices. Well, there's 3, but the remote gets taken up by 1. I'm not sure. I need more information about what trouble you're having. Wheel-on trainings for kids. I haven't even looked into that, to be honest. I've only just started looking into through-axle compatibility now that I have a through-axle bike. So not sure. Jeremy, jump onto the Zwift Riders group. I think there's even a Zwift Kids group on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, you might be able to get some good information there. Definitely an area that I'm lacking in, and that is increasing in popularity for sure. Max isn't big enough yet for me to have a look at that. But if you do get some good information, let me know. We can link through to people, or contact Eric at Zwift Insider if Eric hasn't done a post on that. Be worth doing a good community post, a good community service to provide mums and dads, parents or guardians to get their little ones on Zwift if they want to. First of all, get them outside first. You got to scuff your knees up. What's my head unit of choice? Struggling between a Garmin 530 and a Wahoo Element. Have a Garmin Forerunner watch, asks George. I have a Forerunner as well. Well, if you know the Garmin ecosystem and all your stats are in there, that's a plus for the Garmin side of things. If you've been burnt in the past by firmware updates and crap happening with Garmin that people have issues with, that's a plus to the Wahoo side. 530 is a really good head unit. More features than anyone will ever use. Even the pros that use them. Which Element though? The original Element I think must be close to end of life. The original Element. Everything's Bolt or Roam now, which is still called an Element. If you're after ease of setup, ease of use, definitely the Wahoo side of things. The 530 being non-touchscreen. No, they're both non-touchscreen, but the 530 you have to configure on the head unit. The Wahoo, still non-touchscreen for now. You can configure most of that on the phone, all of it on the phone, very easily, in real time. So it really depends. There's no straight answer there. People are happy with both if you own them. Garmin have come a long way with firmware updates. I jump on any beta firmware update that comes out, and they've been quite stable. So if you can try them out, maybe have a chat to a mate who has one. Somebody at your local club. I'd suggest jumping on forums. They're always a good source of information, but you've got to be careful. Forums are usually, yeah, they can be pile-on sessions, I think is the best way to say it. Sloth. High five the sloth. Ready? Here we go. Hey, bro. We need to hang a sloth here in the Lama lab. Is there any way of stopping Zwift from stopping when I do intervals? I do a HUD into interval, I'm not very fit. How to stop for a few moments, it stops. Asks Mark Bailey. Zwift as in riding stopped? There's no way to stop if you're coasting to stop stopping. Unless you're riding on a straight downhill. At 0 watts, Zwift will apply a small amount of virtual brake. That was put in to help people navigate their way through bunches, I think. I don't ever coast in a bunch though, but I do know it. I had to jump off the other day to turn the fan on a little higher. I was 5 seconds off the bike on a fast section of road and lost 70 places. That's unrealistic. So it's good training, but unrealistic riding. So be aware of that. 0 watts is a slight amount of brake. Yeah, and look, regardless of your fitness, if you do a good interval, a solid hard interval, you shouldn't be able to pedal at the end, so don't feel bad about that. I hated 8-minute all-out or 20-minute all-out tests where you had to do a 5-minute test before, because I'd go so hard in the 5-minute test, I couldn't pedal the following interval. That's nothing to, it's all relative fitness, I guess. So anybody can push themselves that hard. Doesn't get any easier, you just get faster. That's it. Love that one. Have a good ride. G'day from Montana. I will. PM still using a Kicker original. It's a classic. Hell yes, it is. At one point, I think I had 4 or 5 Kicker originals. And I was hiring them out. It was early days. And no store had a ride experience in store. You couldn't really feel a trainer online. You just have to buy it and hope it suited. So that did really well. The grinding you're hearing at the moment it is the bike, but it's because it's got road feel simulation on. Yeah, this saddle has to go. It's the OG saddle on the Neo bike. Ready for the planks? There we go. I can feel that coming through the handlebars and the saddle. How often should you zero offset a power meter? Asked Troy Collett. A Quark with Magic Zero, you don't have to worry about it, which is brilliant. I think Power to Max do auto zero when you're coasting or backpedaling. Most of them, if you want absolute to the watt accuracy or consistency, you do it every ride. Even more accurately if you want to do it 10 minutes after you start your ride. It really depends on the level of detail you want. Though most power, if you use them under the same conditions every single day, same temperature, same time of day, they'll be pretty close even without zeroing them. But to be sure, hit the 0. You can set your Garmin to pop up with a 0 little message. Nobody complains when something works correctly, David G. Exactly right, exactly right. And what's funny about doing reviews or videos or commentary on things, if I do a review on something that works really, really well, sometimes I'll do okay as long as it's interesting and different enough. For Vero Asioma converting over to mountain bike pedals, really good video. It was unique, and they just worked. The Quark D0 video, which just worked, meh, it's really not that popular. People know Quarks work. The internet wants controversy, the internet wants clickbait, the internet wants shit going down. Yeah, I try and keep clear of that. Free for under 16s. Yes, Zwift is free. I believe it's free. If you have a full paying parent account, you can get your child a free Zwift account. There's a few others that do family plans as well. I think Full Gas is a family plan, and Sufferfest maybe. Don't quote me on that one, but I think Full Gas is a family account too. But Zwift free for under 16s. It's awesome. Tricky one for a company to implement though, especially being social and all the privacy issues around that with kids. And every country is different with that. So road feel on this, it's subtle, which is good. If anybody ever rode road feel on the original Richmond course on a Neo, bloody horrible. You had to turn it off. It was just on. So I've got the questions in my head. I've made the webcam a little bigger. I was a bit pixelated in the last few streams. What am I riding on today? It is the kicker bike. Sorry, the Von was on the kicker bike before. I'm on the tax bike, yep. Biking can make so much pressure on the stress to the genitals. Am I wrong? I've had a kid in the last 6 months and I've been riding for many years, so the pressure probably can't be too bad. But yeah, something like this saddle with the no cutout, not my thing. But I'm out of cutout saddles, so I've got to go get another one. I've got the Cadex Boost, Specialized Power, and the Pro Stealth, but they're on all my other bikes. So, well, all the other bikes that I have, yeah, more accurate. Do I think any of the other virtual riding platforms or programs will overtake Zwift? Some already have better graphics. It's going to be hard. And not as a confessed Zwift fanboy, not from that position, but Zwift have the money. They've got a shit ton of money they've raised. And so be it, they did it well. They were one of the, I wouldn't say pioneers, B-Corps probably a little earlier on. Tax had virtual riding, but Zwift came along and did it the best. No question about that for virtual riding. Other platforms, nothing stopping them from coming and being a success other than themselves. That's it. Simple as that. Zwift came along from Jarvis Island and just worked. What you're seeing on screen looks like a rider. I can relate. Now, cyclists know what a cyclist looks like from behind. We ride behind cyclists all the time. If that doesn't look too right, and it's one thing I've said to the guys from Ruby, stop making your guy look like he's riding like this. Like, you might have some good software. You got to stop that though. See, that to me, mountain biker up like that, sure. But if they're off to the side doing this, that's number one. It has to look like a cyclist. That's it. That's where you start. That's not about pixels on screen, resolution-wise or color-wise, course-wise, anything. You have to look like a cyclist. rant over on that. That's all. If a platform can come out, Zwift did exactly that. Zwift was once the underdog. Toucan. Hey, Toucan. There were well-established platforms before Zwift came along. Mightn't have been that popular. They were established though. So it's funny seeing some of the smaller players play the whole "we're now the underdog and I hate the big guy," and they fail to realise that what they're aiming at was once the underdog, exactly like them. It's better to shut the front door, go about your business, and do it well. Looping back around to a question that's just popped up here. Vero Instagram's been very active this week. Any rumblings on a new product release? Nothing I've heard. I guess for Vero, I just now, maybe I've just hired somebody. But to make the link back to that, Vero just came along and made a power meter that effing worked. That's it. And by the way, anybody watching, jump on Instagram, Twitter, or Instagram and Facebook. Vero have been on lately and very active. Look at the comments. See how much love there is for Vero. So much love. That's case in point. And Ray said it the best. Make good shit. Make cool shit. I think Ray's comment was, make cool shit. That's it. Simple. There's no need to get into many software wars. And one I was inadvertently involved in this week. Hardware wars between hardware manufacturers, none that you've heard of, who are trolling me online and were called out for it. Just make better shit. Not hard. For Vero, hats off to Vero. I'll sing their praises until proven otherwise. They made a pair of pedals that just worked. Hello, Ham Beanie fans. Ham Beanie's in the house. Here we go. So, Ham Beanie. Hey, Ham Beanie. People are asking me about ceramic speed. Now, I made the viral video. I didn't set out to make a viral video. It just went viral. 5.4 million views on their drivetrain, which, even in that video, it's a concept. That's it. I've been trying to contact Ceramic Speed for years and years. This week they finally sent me over those oversized jockey wheels and a bottom bracket. I'm totally, and then I knew this was coming. People are saying, oh, effing Ceramic Speed, this, that, rah, rah, rah. One question for Ham Beanie though, who knows bearings like nobody else. The Ceramic Speed bottom bracket, installed new, should still be better than the default SRAM one supplied. Yes or no? Let me know. Theoretically. Oh, climb. If you don't know Ham Beanie's an engineer out of the UK, I think. You've got a Pommy accent, Ham Beanie. You're going to be out of the UK regardless. Got onto Ham Beanie's channel early on when he covered bearings. Brilliant level of detail on bearings. To the point where nobody else should do a video on bearings. It's done. Ham Beanie baked that cake, presented it. It's there for everyone to consume. Brilliant video on bearings. Also why different spindles are a little bit useless on certain bottom brackets. Oh, and if the dub bottom bracket supplied Ham Beanie from Ceramic Speed is no good, let me know if a Ham Beanie bottom bracket would be better. Because I'll happily throw one of those in. They spin really well, not under load. Ham Beanie, can you tell us about the difference between when people show a bearing spinning unloaded versus a loaded bearing? Two different things, aren't they? Because everyone loves grabbing a bearing or a set of cranks and spinning them. But then if you put 400 watts through it, I'd say they have different properties. Is an unloaded spinning test worth anything? It should be better than the original SRAM. There we go. Awesome. So with the ceramic speed stuff, even if it saves 1 watt, I'm still up because they sent them to me. And I'll be clear about that. So I'd be happy. Would it be worth spending $600 on a... Hey, that disappeared. Okay. Sorry. Game debugging here. Road field disables on gradients like that. Let me test that theory again. So I had road field going down. After 100 kilometers, you might find the ceramic speed bottom bracket is worse. The hardballs will cut traction into the soft race. Yes, excellent info. I think how many you've covered that in your bearing video. Okay, road field disappears at 6%. There we go. Today's Zwift tip, midstream. Zwift road field disappears at 6%. 7. Does it come back right at the end here? It does. No. That was my stomach grumbling. Same. Something happened down here. There we go. Unloaded spinning test is a waste of time. It's only good for judging alignment between drive side and non-drive side of the bottom bracket. And also balance, I guess. Could give an indication if things were unbalanced. Even a wheel unloaded, it will center itself, I guess. Yeah. Awesome. Eric's on his lunch break at work. Good to catch you live. What's my opinion speed on ceramic bottom brackets? Well, your comments above and below are by the man who's in a much better position than me to comment about that. Look, let's be honest about that. There's a lot of marketing, there's a lot of money involved in the ceramic speed stuff. There's no question about that. They do a good job of it. I don't think we can expect, as Hambini has just said there, the longevity out of them. Typically high performance stuff degrades the fastest. Well, give or take. That's pretty bad as a general statement, but you drive your car hard, it won't last as long. Oh, thread it all the way. Thread. God, give me a threaded bottom bracket. And the tool, I'll be much happier. For the price it should be. Yeah, so back on the ceramic speed jockey wheels. This has been fun on the gravel with the Grail. What my goal was to ensure the least loss in the drivetrain with my testing. And the through axle bike, I'm seeing a few percent more in certain circumstances on the through axle bike versus the quick release bike. Same everything else. And yeah, and Ceramic Speed do claim the standard Ultegra Shimano loses something like 6 watts at 250 watts, which will be measurable even here in the Lama lab. So we'll put it to the test. The question will be, if I don't see any change whatsoever, how could I see the change? And that's the question I'll post. And if I see a few watts difference and I swap between bikes or between setups, I'm delayed on that because I need a new chain and a new cassette to make sure everything is absolutely kosher for these tests coming up. But if I don't see any change, I'll just simply raise a support ticket and say, how should I see the change? And I don't buy the "you'll go faster" reply. We'll see. I'm hoping to be surprised. When things work, I just love it. Speaking of, the cheaper spider power meters I'm looking at out of China at the moment, XKD and Suzhi. I'll go with Suzhi. Sorry, my English is even horrible. Very, very, very close to being excellent. Both of them I fed back to the teams. A couple of little quirks or issues that I had that they are known and are addressing in firmware. If they can sort those out, look out. Videos on those coming soon. But it's good to see companies moving away from just gluing strain gauges with clag onto Shimano cranks and calling it done. A spider-based power meter, it's a good place to measure power. You won't get true left-right. Does it matter? Not really. For me, I like, why true left-right is handy for me is to simply compare other left-right power meters to each other. Training-wise, if you got a massive discrepancy, sure. But what's a black tube in front of me? It's a rocket. And as soon as I get a million subscribers, the rocket's gonna shoot my crutch area from here. So I'm still a few subscribers off that. It's also my microphone. It's a little closer. I've got a totally hacked up rig. So hopefully the audio for me talking is a little better than normal. Just a chill ride today, Brulio. Just a chill ride, which I need to drink more. If you're going to get into serious training and you didn't care about entertainment, what app would I use? I'd get outside. You're dead serious about training, you commit to getting outside and racing and training the conditions that you want to perform in. There is no substitute at all. And why we ride indoors is because we sometimes have to substitute. For me, 20k time trials were a target. In Melbourne, I could not get a 20k stretch of road uninterrupted. The only time I could was race day. So we moved indoors. So if you're dead serious about training outside and you race in the rain and the wind and the heat and everything. Training wise though, if your question was around which platform to use for the best benefit, there's no answer. There's no easy answer. As I was saying early on in the stream, I've used just YouTube videos to train for time trials. It's about the hours and powers indoors. What this stuff does, it takes you away from the fact that you're riding a stationary bike. If I set this up and looked at the wall, 5 minutes, I'm done, bored. I'm an hour 8 in, got at least another hour 8 in me. That's what that's about. I have to trick the body, trick the mind. Someone's setting a smoke signal up there. What is that smoke? So whatever works. And it could be a personal thing. If you want to chase graphs, chase numbers and be spot on, train a road. Want to do both, Sufferfest. If you want interactive, this, Ruby. Course replication, full gas. You want to be hard? Put a blindfold on and do it in a dark room with no fan. That's hard. Won't be fun. All can get the same effect though. Hours and powers indoors. It's all hours and powers. Ooh. Ham Beanie, appreciate you hanging around, mate. A couple of good answers there on what I had assumed on bearings and like unloaded tests and things, but also some real facts. I mean, we can take massive dumps on technology and companies and marketing, sure, but we also need to appreciate where things might be a little better. And if the ceramic speed bottom bracket for the first 100Ks is better, cool. But it's funny, people will look at the overall picture and just say, well, they're crap from the start. Not the case. The internet loves that though. Will Wahoo make their own radar like the Varia? God, I hope someone does. I really do. I love the Varia radar. For my riding, as I keep saying, game changer. Am I still on the Grail? I've got to switch back. Yeah, the radar is an open standard. There's no hassles with someone coming out with a radar. There will need to be a change in the radar as of 2021. The frequency it uses, I think the radar is on 24 gig. I think which is being sunset or discontinued for an open standard or something or other. I think they'll need to move up to the 72 gig. Again, an RF engineer will know more about this than I do. There may be a delay on that though, of what companies can make in that band. The upside though is that if they do go to the 74 gig, I think it's 74 gig. At the moment, the radar is I think a 12 centimeter. The wavelength that can only pick up certain things. I think 2.4 gigs, 12 centimeters. Somebody, an engineer, will know more about this than I do. But if they have to step up the frequency for the radar tech, it should be able to pull up more detail, and that would be cool. That would definitely be more cool. But it's not bad at the moment. It can see around most riders. It can pick up multiple cars if it can see those. Or, on the flip side, it could completely screw the technology altogether if the wavelength either isn't big enough to go around things or is too sensitive. Again, one for the engineer. Question. What training setting do I have Zwift on? Am I on 100%? Stuart? Always 100%. I'm always on 100%, unless you saw the stream earlier on where it was set to half. So, yeah, 100%, mainly because at the moment I'm on these virtual bikes, which I can change the virtual cassette on. So on this bike, the tax bike, I have 3611. Why am I in the 3611? I'm virtually cross-chaining. 3630 I've configured on this. The kicker bike, I've got a 3632, I think, configured for the climbing. This saddle is killing me. My word, right up in here. What's that part? Oh, jeez. I'm going to sit further back. Road feel, that might... There we go, that rubs it out a bit. Saddles are very personal. This one's getting too personal. So yeah, 100% for the trainer setting. Yep. Do I find training gets more difficult as I get older? Hambini, I've slowed down the training, so I have no answers to that. Racing-wise, when I was racing, training got harder because I was pushing myself harder. So you learn what your new boundaries are. It hurt just the same whether you were fit or unfit. You could just recover a lot quicker if you were fit. And it's funny, when Slay and I were training for Tour of Bright, our multi-day hilly stage race here, it's our amateur Tour de France, over just a couple of days here in Australia. I said to Slane when we were training, it's hard to know whether you're going well against others if you're training by yourself. You have to be in a bunch and just see people drop off. But you don't feel any different. You're just going faster. But as for training and getting older, motivation changes, I guess, and that's probably the biggest thing for me. I can't be bothered pushing myself at 450, 470 for 5 minutes. They're my PBs. I've done that. That hurts a lot. 194 watts is good enough for me right now. As long as I'm fit enough to test this equipment in true conditions, I'm happy. 1200 watt sprints, 1300 watt sprints outdoors. I'm okay with that. No monster watts, but if I can do 300 up a hill, 340, 350 for a shorter hill, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just to see if the power meter works, is accurate, I'm happy. Then I'll go to the coffee shop after. Chris asks, what's my thoughts on the mileage covered on Zwift? Personally, I think it's a little out. Yeah, it's not real. Indoors is hours and powers. That's it. Time and effort. Distance. Because you could join a ride at the top of Alp to Zwift and ride 12Ks without touching the pedals. That doesn't count. But if you were to put out 120 watts doing that, that's what counts. The draft effect is too strong. The coasting effect is too little. It's not real, but it's good all the issues that Zwift aren't real in just make for better training, which sucks. I'd rather it be real. That's why, actually, I got to swap bikes. That's why you're riding the Buffalo bike or a slower bike might get you a little bit more realistic distances, maybe. Frame. So if we go jump on, I like the Buffalo bike because it's very rare. Yeah, that's not. I wish Zwift had wind. Zwift with wind would be awesome. Tailwinds, headwinds, crosswinds. Hard to do crosswinds without steering because you can't do echelons and bunch positioning. But it would slow things down. It would make things more dynamic in a race. A lot of the time, a race can be. So if you're racing in Watopia Hilly, the place to attack, if you've got a good long 2-minute effort in you at the end, you go over the short sprint and you attack up that hill, and you'll always hold a gap. You sprint to the line on the downhill. Oh, thanks for the sub. But if that was a headwind section, you couldn't pull that tactic out because the bunch would always catch you. If it was a tailwind section, it'll work even better. So I think Zwift needs wind in-game. That would be cool. But for that to be realistic, you need crosswinds. And for crosswinds to work, as I said, you need steering. Or at least positioning on the road. I've got buttons here on the Neo bike, which should be able to select, say, 14 positions on the road, throw it in the gutter, throw it 2 out from the gutter so only 3 girls can get on your wheel. That'd be cool. But we're not seeing that kind of innovation. I'd like to see that innovation. I'd like to see it, even if it fails, that would be great. But without implementing even a failure, we don't know. It could be a game changer. Someone was asking before, could something come along and beat Zwift? They could definitely beat them in that area. Definitely. But then Zwift could just release an update that does the same anyway. It's hard to implement something for everyone. But alrighty. Bought a radar on my recommendation. I get to take it outside due to it being too cold and rainy. Oh bugger. Excited to finally try it out, yeah. Radar, game changer for the rides that I do. So good. Improving 5 minutes power through Zwift workouts. Just do more of them. That really is it. To get good at something, you just do more of it. Maybe start with some 90-second intervals, maybe some 30-30, so 30 second on, 30 second off, 30 second on, 30 second off. It's definitely one for a good coach to not only to prescribe what you're doing, just to monitor your response to that. Because any coach can give any training plan. That's easy. You don't need a coach these days. Click, 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 done. Your response is so individual. If you want to optimize that, you need a coach. Or to know what you're looking at, to know your own response. So, to prescribe something for 5-minute workouts, or 5-minute power, I'd go 30-30s. They always sharpen everyone up. They suck so hard. If you do 10 minutes of 30 on, 30 off, and that 30 is as hard as you can go, not full on sprinting, just as hard as you can go in the saddle. Rest for 5 minutes. There we go. 30-30s. Says Thomas. Oh, cobbles. And cobbles off. That was only a slow section of cobbles. But then if that's all you do 30-30s, you still have to do the 5-minute test at some point. 5x5s are a good tester. But don't always try and aim for your PB for your 5x5s. It's just a fast way to burn out. Aiming for, say, 85% of your best 5 minutes. So you just bring, oh, hello microphone, don't die on me. Slowly bring yourself up. If you try and ramp up your fitness too fast, you fall just as quick. You just slowly bring it up. If you did 5x5s at say 80%, 85% for a few weeks, then you re-step it. Just step it up, step it up. But make sure the motivation is there. Physical is one thing, the mind is another. And if you're not seeing improvements, you could very well go backwards. So keep it fun. Keep it fun. Furthest distance on Zwift in one session, I think it was 417 Ks. About 12 or 13 hours on Zwift one day. back in 2015. Zwift auto syncing with Strava, Matthew, no. Mine's been rock solid. If you are having issues, go to Zwift.com, log in, unlink your Zwift account, jump over to Strava, maybe unlink from there too, just to be sure. It'll probably unlink from both as soon as you unlink one, and reset that linking up, just to make sure it has the latest auth keys, or yeah, it's effectively turning it off and turning it back on again. Another thing is, don't shut everything down straight away. As soon as you finish a ride, give it a few moments. Don't finish your ride, power down. If you've got crappy internet, it still has to upload the fit file, which should be pretty small. Maybe a few images. If you screw that process halfway through, you won't get the upload. So make sure you give enough time to sync. Do I have any pull to get Zwift to add the badges to the companion app? Dude, we've been commenting and submitting ideas for years. I just want left-right balance in game, or some full power metrics, and the wind, and the steering, and the everything. No, just the response that I get from Zwift is to raise an idea in the forum and let people upvote that so they can see it. I know a lot of the people from Zwift, I can hassle them direct. I try not to. They've got their own work. I try not to get on any single mission. It would be nice, definitely. And I'm sure that's one the community would love too. If you want to simulate the brake and stop the bike immediately, just open the pairing page. Yep. So if I hit A on here, boom. And we're stopped. So a sign on the keyboard for Ant Plus, because Zwift was only Ant Plus early on. Not sure how to do that in Apple TV. On Apple TV. Frame rate at the moment is locked to 60. I've turned VSync on with this monitor. So it should be smooth enough. Should definitely be smooth enough. Why am I indoors? Mate, because I've got to get more time on this tax bike. I'll go outdoors tomorrow. And it wasn't nice outside, Dave, today. It was bloody freezing this morning. I went and got a coffee. It was only 11 degrees. Horrible. Tomorrow's going to be 30. Much better use of time going out tomorrow. Alright, cheers Stephen. Have a good night, mate. At the end of the day, Zwift is still a small company. No, I don't buy that. They're no longer a startup, and they're no longer a small company. They are a small team of developers. Quote me on that. Quote me a lot on that. They can't keep pulling that out. It's a legacy thing. Like, once you were always the small person, you're always the small person. They're 350 plus now. That's big company stuff. Over 100 million raised. That's big company stuff. But the actual dev side of things, which we see as riders, and we've been around for a while, that's where the rubber hits the road. Ballarat Beaufort return, nice one. Negative 25F. Oof, what's that? What's that in units that I can understand? I'm horrible for miles. I'm not too bad. Fahrenheit. Brandon has a kicker snap. How often should I calibrate it? For the snap and any wheel on trainer, ideally every ride. The reason being is there's a lot of variables that change on a wheel on trainer from ride to ride. If you leave your bike on the trainer overnight, the next morning, I calibrated it for that ride, The next morning it might be okay after 10 minutes. But tyre pressures, tyre wear, temperature, temperature of the tyre, temperature of the resistance unit, that's why they say use for 10 minutes before calibrating. There's a lot that can influence the power from those. So wheel on is almost every ride. If you're taking your bike off and putting your bike back on, absolutely. After 10 minutes, which can be a pain. You solve that with the bike power meter, which still needs to be 0 offset. So 0 offset a power meter is faster than a spin down though, depending on the power meter. There's no easy answers other than upgrading or changing equipment. Ant Plus or ANT Plus? I call it Ant Plus. All right, Schubert. Oh, wide angle. Hopefully that's encoding well. The stats for the encoding look okay. 163 viewers. I appreciate everyone coming for a cruise with me this morning. I've been flat out with not so much uploading specific videos to YouTube, but a ton of background work on what will be potentially videos in the future. I think the other day it was 9 companies I either supported, put through a support request to, or clarification or request for more info. So 9 separate companies. That was on one day. So a lot of stuff in the works, but hopefully all turning into videos soon, so you can see what I'm up to. A lot of the stuff that I do does go on Instagram prior to publishing. Snippets and other things I'm up to in the background. Members of the channel get an insider update every now and then. I think I put out a couple of paragraph posts the other day for the members of the power meters and things that I'm up to at the moment. So if you're not a subscriber, hit subscribe on the channel, really appreciate it. If you'd like to become a member, there's also the member badge or the member button there, which will give you a little llama next to your name in chat and in the comments on videos. There's a few different membership options there. There's one that's only a few dollars a month. That's the Alpaca, Team Alpaca. You want to be on Team Lama, which is around $4 or $5 a month, depending on where you are. Or Lama Pro, which gets you nothing more than being a higher contributor. That's all. We have quite a few of those people who have signed up for Lama Pro, which is awesome. This allows me to do a lot more things. Trek stores on board. Give those guys a thumbs up. All right. How about a Titans Grove? Yeah, let's go Titans Grove. Why not? I was going to do a traditional Watopia Hilly. I think Titans Grove would be a good roll. Paul Ferguson, currently using Apple TV. Do I think it's worth looking at upgrading to a PC for the same experience? Good question. If it's an Apple TV 4K on a really high quality screen, screens are important. Again, another rabbit hole I've been down this week. For the experience, no, it's pretty much the same. You'll get the ride feel, the group rides, the workouts, the everything on Apple TV. It's pretty much one for one across any platform. What you will get with PC, a good PC like I've upgraded to this week, is a lot more detail on screen. I can see a lot further in the distance. It's smoother. I can do a lot more things with it, such as streaming and capturing and things. There's a ton of runners on. Good one. If you've got the money, for sure, if you've got the spare cash to dedicate to your pain cave, go a good gaming PC. And a 50 to 55 inch low latency screen looks brilliant. I'll be spending a lot of time indoors, so I've upgraded recently. If you're on an Apple TV Gen 3, an older Apple TV, hell yeah, upgrade. Oh, the older Apple TV now is getting a little dated for that whole experience. It's hard. I'm looking at ways of doing my video on my new setup here versus the old one. It's hard to do that and show people what a high quality screen looks like when people will be consuming it on a phone. You won't see the detail or the clarity. I can do a side by side at almost a quarter of the resolution. I think my original Apple TV 4K video did well with side by sides for detail, showing the shadowing and the details. But what you can see in 4K here, I'm not on this guy, but see down there I can see the derailleur cable and that guy's bike. I can see the brake cables, the downshifters. It's got teeth on the chainring. There's a little detail. It looks a bit cartoonish, but oh, that got a bit intimate. Oh, it was a woman too. Oops. It's getting all awkward here on the live stream. But the cables, the fingers, the details there, the bolts, the bell. Zwift isn't designed to be a high-end game, but if you have a high-end system, it looks a lot better. Whoa! Hang on, I've got to go to that mode. So it does depend. But you're not going to get Xbox or PS4 style graphics out of Zwift. This is 100% on what I had though, for sure. I don't think I've done Titan's Grove in 4K. I believe the dinosaurs will stare at you in 4K. Solid ride, 45, getting there, or 44.5. Titans, let's get it done. And don't forget to switch your TV to game mode. Very important. On my Instagram this week, I had some Instagram stories showing people the input lag. I was moving the mouse on the computer, which was mirrored to the screen, and some was so laggy, the mouse was doing this. Some were this, and this one I have, and another Samsung, almost 1 for 1. Now input lag for a game like this, not too important. You've got a second lag on your power anyway, and gradient changes, or quarter of a second, depending on how you look at it. But it's about moving the mouse around. If you have a couple of milliseconds, or let's say 30 or 40 milliseconds lag moving the mouse, when you stop where you think it stops, the mouse will keep moving and you'll miss the detail. It was horrible, horrible, horrible. Is Zwift an Xbox? No, it's not, no. I think that was one of the first comments that I made is, oh, this saddle is killing me. It's not like the regions, it's up, whatever goes up this way. I usually ride out the saddles. This is the stock saddle on the Neo bike. What was I saying? I got distracted by my undercarriage. Sorry, I lost it there. Indoors, shirts, I think there was a question about that. Typically I don't wear a shirt indoors. You don't want to see my dad bod here, and I think it probably violates YouTube policy. I think it does Twitch too. Either way, I have to turn the fans up. This is a chill ride anyway, but you'll always see me on a jersey indoors. But training or racing by myself, just bibs. Okay, Brandon, I've tried using my HP laptop with Zwift for my trainer, but my power kept on dropping out. Bluetooth, so I got an Ant Plus dongle. It's still causing it. But it doesn't to my iPhone. Okay. First thing I can think of with that is Bluetooth. It's a HP laptop, so it's Windows and Bluetooth. Could be flaky. Should be sorted, could be flaky. Ant Plus dropouts. With what you need to do on a laptop is get that dongle or any computer, get the dongle away from the computer. There's so much noise and crap happening from the computer itself, you'll get interference. If it's right next to the Wi-Fi and the Wi-Fi is on 2.4, say on channel 10, it's almost identical to, or is identical to where Ant Plus is. And whilst in theory they shouldn't mix, they do, and cause dropouts. Grab yourself an extension cable, get that little dongle away from the computer, even a meter, even half a meter, and see how that goes. Don't put that cable next to the HDMI cable. If you have HDMI out on a laptop, HDMI cables can be very, very noisy. One cable here, one cable next to it. Gremlins. That's as technical as I'll get. So if you can choose a port on the other side to where your HDMI is, if you're using HDMI out, there we go. Brian's chipped in there. USB extender, yep. OLED TV burning with Zwift. Yeah, if you're running it a lot, or you're rich enough to have an OLED TV. With Apple TV, we can't choose the screenshots to load, and we can't take out the data fields out. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. It's just really hard to do. I believe there's an interface change coming soon. I think Eric talked about that in the Mincast, the Minterview. So I'm hesitant to do any interface how-tos if that's going to change, but you can select your screenshots and to remove the data on them. Von did it the other day, but the remote is just horrible to use. Yeah, Pro Stealth's only satellite panels working for my undercarriage. Mate, I may need to get one for this bike. Just ordered another one. Where from? I needed more chains and a new cassette for the ceramic speed testing I'll be doing. I ordered from Bike Bug yesterday at 3 p.m. Typically in Australia, delivery times are when we get around to it, mate. Or, yeah, give it a week. Yesterday, that was packed and sent that afternoon at a 3 p.m. order. Very happy with that. Very happy. So I can't get to that this weekend though. How often do I do these live rides streamed? Very rarely. Not on a schedule. But I have a new computer, so I'm excited. I need more time on the bike, so it's all good. And I've been a bit thin on content. I've been working in the background more than anything facing on YouTube, so it's a win-win for me here. I can get some content up to appease the YouTube algorithm gods. I can have a chat to everyone, and I get to ride. Tomorrow I might be outside. I'm just after a broken collarbone surgery. Takes a vortex on the way. Any tips for me? Tips on the collarbone surgery? I've done 4 collarbones. I've done both sides twice. So every break is different. Every recovery is different. I think my best collarbone recovery was I was operated on Friday and I was racing on Wednesday. Not on the advice of the surgeon, but with a pin in there, things hold pretty well, depending on the break. So listen to your surgeon, don't listen to me. Training wise, yeah, it depends. If you've got fitness you want to keep, short, sharp little VO2 efforts. I was using, and this is not advice, this is what I was doing. 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off. I felt a ton better, especially with all the painkillers they give you with any surgery that you do. Now I'm not going to go do the steering course because I don't have a steering device on here. That's what that question mark is though. If I want to go mountain bike steering. But all the painkillers that I was given for that, they just knock you around. Horrible stuff. I always felt if I could get on the bike and sweat and do a workout, I felt so much better. Maybe because it would tire me out and then I'd sleep a little more. Normally there's a lull in content because I'm getting ready to put out some awesome stuff. Yeah. Actually, I've got one for this afternoon. Something I spotted this morning came out. So, whether I'll get it out this afternoon, I don't know. But the hint is Strava have a new feature. Strava have a new feature. Who'd have thought? Alright. Hopefully the music's not too loud. If it is, let me know. I've got different sound levels and things going on here. Might be a bit too... Let me bang that down a little bit. There we go. It's just crappy, what do you call it? Free to use content music. I can't punch out any Taylor Swift, sorry. Broke collarbone last April and it still broke. Oof. I had one where the surgeon wanted it to naturally heal. It didn't. Watery stuff falling from the sky in Perth. Must be champagne showers from all those winds the Perth and WA riders had at the Nationals, is it? There's no sun. So it's rain. Ever encountered Ergmo getting stuck in group rides? No. Depends on what trainer. Andrew, what trainer are you on? Almost the dinosaurs. There we go, Simon. You've spotted it. So, you can crop rides in Strava on the mobile app. I think you could always do it on the web, but no one ever did. And I've got a few comms around Melbourne and other parts, near freeways and near roads. I'd get an email every couple of days. Someone taking a comm in the car who didn't trim their ride. Now you can trim the ride on the mobile. So if you're recording on Strava on your mobile and you forget and you get home, straight after it uploads, you can trim it back, go, done, and it's happy days. It's a cool little feature. They've done really well in the interface. It works super. There's a visual. I'll do a video on it. How about that? Rather than explain it here. Drops an arrow on the downhill. It's meant to be a chill ride. What happened there? Sweating buckets. Power Pro or Specialized Power or Stealth. First of all, the Yakov, make sure you get the correct width saddle for your fit bones in here. Sit bones, fit bones, not the middle bone, there's two side bones. If you sit under pressure, all good bike shops will be able to measure your saddle width. And it'll still come into preference as well, but that'll get you ballpark. See what I did there? Dad joke. Of where you need to be. The Specialized Power Pro is a little narrower here at the front end. So there's really nothing on that saddle. If it's not set right, you'll feel like you're falling off and you're getting jammed up the butt with a spike. It's set wrong, fore and aft. But the Power Pro, when it's in a good position, it's fine. I switched over to the Stealth, the Shimano Pro Stealth. So Pro is Shimano. That's fatter through here. There's a good screenshot. It's fatter through the nose. So depending on your width, your thigh gap, you might get a little bit more rub. Depends. If you're super aero and you're really narrow like this and there's not a lot of gap there, the Specialized is probably a little better. If you've got a bit of gappage, you probably go either way. It's one of those things you need to try it before you buy it. Or buy it and see if there's a returns policy. Or, I mean, bike parts, there's always a good market for second-hand parts or hardly used parts. Except riders. Once the riders are used, they're done. There we go, dinosaurs in 4K. Oh, they're magnificent. Can I? There we go. Spin around, there we go. I wish they'd chase you or something. So there's what we need to do with software. Have the dinosaurs run after us. Have the T-Rex like breathe, oh, the little ones. Breathe fire or something. Too much tradition in cycling. Let's have a bit of fun. There's another one behind the T-Rex behind there. Where is he? Oh, we beat him. Johnny B, high shading subscriber since 2016 when I first watched you and Mike Ferguson on the Zwift Tips interview. Brilliant. Whatever happened to the blue bots? Yeah, they took the wrong turn. They left the course. So if you remember Zwift back in the day, there were blue bots or ghost riders. And not a lot of people know this, but the blue riders only appeared when the rider G-Master was on course. So there was a rider called G-Master, had a stash, totally, who were they? They did the YMCA, that group. Can't think right now. I need some more carbs. So if G-Master was on course anywhere, even just sitting there, standing there on his bike, the blue bots would be around. They were there because there wasn't a lot of people on Zwift. There was someone to ride with. Without those around, Zwift was very empty. Not a lot of anything going on. So they're now gone because there's thousands and thousands of people on Zwift. Oh, maybe one less soon for me with this saddle. Ooh, for today anyway. Oh, what view am I in to rotate? Okay, on Mac and PC, press 0 on the keyboard. You can use the arrow keys to move around, like so, and plus and minus to go out. The video I've done of that is, I think I've called it drone shot on Zwift or something. Zwift drone camera angle. It's a Zwift tip that I've done. But what you're after is number 0. Not available on iOS or Apple TV or Android. Village People, there we go. Of course it was Village People. Hour 48, okay, it's food time. If you want to see how cool a green screen is for a green bar, it goes black. That's what the bar is green. Nothing down there. All right, we should be downhill here. We'll go out in the desert. So blue guys were only in the beta, I believe. You could never draft them anyway. They were always a crap group to ride with. Oh, another subscriber, thank you, Jan. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Your name will go up in lights in the middle of the screen. And it helps the channel out a lot. It really does. Sorry, I typically don't eat on streams. But as Steve has asked, how far am I riding? Longer than normal. I'll be off before 12. So I'll get this down first. It's hard to eat and talk and ride. Well, it's hard to eat these and talk and ride. Oh, graphics are beautiful. What you're seeing on stream is it'll be different to what I'm seeing here, but I'm now in 4K. Nice and smooth. Desert, there we go. And you can get creative with the 0 key. So if I go 8 and then 0, I'm pulled really far back. And I can get a ton of different angles with that. This won't do too well with the encoding for the stream, but you can see here, I'm a long way up and a long way back. That's cool. Whoa! In the trees. And I can bring it down. But if I go 6 and 0, I'm only this far back. And you're limited to how far you can pull back. With that one there, you can really get a long shot. That looks cool. See, coming into Saddle Springs there, that looks awesome. That's a drone shot. So Nathan Guerra's got that down pat for the broadcasting stuff on Zwift Community Live. I think they either have tools or are getting tools to do a lot more of this. The official Zwift stuff has all the camera angles and things. Yes, as soon as there's clubs functionality in Zwift where I can hold my own event and people can join, hell yeah, I'll be doing these streams. Everyone can join, we can ride, chat, chill, Q&A, yeah, for sure. No comment, David. Hit me on DM for that. Okay, see that road that's in there? There's an expansion, has to be, right there, look at that. That looks fun. But on the map above me, it just loops back around. They've got to be doing something with that soon. Oh, gears, there we go, okay. Sorry, I'm a bit quiet. Wash this down. I appreciate everyone hanging around for the stream. It's not my typical content. I'm happy to make this my typical content if people are watching and enjoying. It does allow me some real-time interaction. I'm in all the comments anyway of all the videos that I make or posts on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and everywhere. But right here, right now, you can pose a question right here and I'll see it. Most of the time. Hey Amelia, how you doing? Yeah, Bluetooth keyboard would be nice on Apple TV. Ed, yeah. I agree, it'd be nice to have all the heads-up display just moved away so you can just ride. Here on the new 50-inch screen that I've upgraded to, it's a lot better because most of the screen is just in front of me here. On the small screen though, you'll have most of the sometimes you just want to ride. I agree. There is a way to hack it and take all that junk off the screen because a lot of the stuff is now on the companion app, but it's still not ideal. Apple TV remote is a little, is more than a little frustrating. Yes, yes, yes. Alright, catch you later, Amelia. Thanks for dropping by. Yeah, a mouse just works, doesn't it? I've got a touchpad on the keyboard in front of me, which I've locked in. I can't actually show you. The touchpad still looks great. What's the highest speed I've ever hit in miles per hour on a descent? Zwift or real life? Real life was 102 k's an hour, I think it was. That was pretty fast. On Zwift, I've done the 100k an hour challenge coming off the radio tower. So about the same, actually. Sharon Yaxley the Mink has done 200 k's. Holy kilometre baggage. Look at that. Check those stats. 5 hours 35, 203 k's. Boom! On the Tron bike. Ah, no socks. Let's take a moment to think about that. That's all right. No socks. We'll forgive that. You've done 200 k's. But regardless of the k's, if people say the k's aren't real, 5 hours on the ergo? Woo! Hell yes! Back to my measly 1 hour 56. Hey Shane chat, how are the lap start page buttons on the Roam compared to the Bolt? Just had my buttons getting stuck, also power. They're a little more inset on the Roam. On the Bolt, it's hard to show you the difference, and even if I was to have them and show you, it's tactile. The Bolt seems a little easier to click. The Roam, they're inset a little more, you have to press a little harder, or the rubber on top is a little thicker. That is definitely something I've seen fed back to Wahoo on the Roam. Go Mink, 204 k's. Woof. Trying to put the your username and password. The Mink's home alone. That's why 5 hours. Good stuff. Speaking of which, I haven't heard Max, so I'm doing well. I'm sure Max will be up soon. Texas. Whereabouts in Texas are you, Patrick? A lot of parallels with Texas and where I am now, kind of in the desert here. And the farm country I'm from. Do you think we'll see a Roam 2, less bezel or colour bolt this summer? I don't know. Don't know. A smaller Roam would be nice, but Wahoo need to be careful that they don't get too aged too quickly. The Bolt was simply the Element, smallened, miniaturized, tinied, and the Element has been out for quite a while now. The Roam, based on the same everything, just with a few colours and some more maps. So there's a lot of legacy still built in. If they were just tweak it a little bit, again, it's one step forward and time is making them take 2 steps back. So they've got to be careful there. So I don't know is the answer. Have a look at Brighton have their, let me just check their website before I get my foot stuck in it. Because I wanted to show people an example. I don't have a website up here to string through. But where companies need to go, it's products. Bingo, cool, they have it. Okay, the Brighton 860. So Brighton head units, which I've said, honestly, they look a little bit like Casio watches from the 80s or 90s with their current model. That's the 420. I have to write a 15 budget GPS to give a run for its money too soon. They've come out with the 860. Touchscreen, color, a massive step up. Not just an incremental step, a massive step up. Whether it's any good or not, we're going to have to see one first. That's the kind of step that Wahoo need to do next for their head units, if they want to remain competitive. Or if they want to remain simplified and successful in what they're doing, cool, they probably get away with just another small revision. I'd like to see it. So my example there is if you jump over to brightonsport.com, if you Google that, the 860, which hasn't been released yet, but it's on their website. It's a massive move up. It's only half the battery life of what they've had in the past, which is still 16 hours, so that's pretty good. Full mapping, full everything. Now, I don't think this will be a competitor in the market straight out. It'll need a bit of time in the market. But, and again, we haven't seen them hit shelves yet, but that's just an example of when a company really re-innovates. Expecting a 2021 pedal-based power meter though. Hey, I do have a set of power speed play non-power pedals, of course. There's no power speed plays out yet. So I do want to check out what speed play's about. Train. The detail in 4K that I can now see. Yeah, I can see a lot further down the road and the detail in the buildings in 4K. Again, you won't see it on the stream because the stream is the stream. It's downscaled. When my rides upload from Garmin to Strava and Garmin Connect, both average power can be different. Asks Noel. Depends on how they calculate average power. If it's from a different device, if you're measuring from a Garmin head unit or a watch, that uploads to Garmin Connect and Zwift uploads to something else, and you're comparing those, there will be always differences. If it's the same source file and there are differences, technically there shouldn't be, but is there any standard on how to calculate average power? I mean, there should be obvious, but the start stops may be calculated differently, the auto stops may not be factored in. A good one for the support staff of either Garmin or Zwift to ask how they calculate average power. They might not give you the algorithm. It's a good question to ask because it should be the same. Does Shimano clicked away squeak like this? Jesus. It's like I'm stepping on a mouse every time I pedal. Hammerhead Karoo Gen 2 this year, looking forward to that. Rich Lovelock. Whoa, okay. Look, the Karoo's not bad. I've got one. I keep updating it. I covered it in my 8 head units over the Festive 500. The screen, hands down, brilliant. Brilliant screen. That thing is huge. Which is... Some people are okay with the huge screen. The no sound is a killer. No beeper, no sound, no audio. If the 2 has audio... is a little smaller, that'll be fine. Big discussion on one of my posts around the navigation on the Karoo. I think someone's giving me a hard time that I didn't cover the navigation on it. It doesn't have navigation. Oh, sorry. That was the Lama. The Karoo actually does have navigation, but the somebody talking about the Lama Type S, give me a hard time on that. And yeah, the answer was that it doesn't have nav. They use Google Maps to do the nav. The Karoo has its own navigation, but does hand off a lot of other things. The 2 has to have a speaker though. Do I think Zwift will allow us to create custom routes anytime soon? I'll give you the straight answer on that. Nope, no way. The in-game routes, when they first implemented routes on Zwift, the predefined routes, even they had a hard time getting those right. So you'd have to present to the user, here are your infinite options. Please select your infinite option and we'll get that right. Look at that bunch coming up. Holy bunch bags. Huge ride the other way. No, I don't think they will. Mainly due to the complexity of choosing a route yourself. I think they'll give you predefined routes and some arrow keys. Have I seen the Roadrunner yet? No, not today. Not today on this course. Amazon shows the 860 available March 13th. 13th of March to 3rd of April. Yeah, William, I still wouldn't touch one until we've seen one. Sorry, I wouldn't pay for one until we've seen one. I'll happily have a look at it. It's big and weighty. The detail on the maps on the Karoo though, for there, yeah, I screwed up before, I was thinking of the Lama, but the maps on the Karoo were really good. But it's like a lot of tech, almost everything we've got a choice of in this world. There's no one killer app, killer device, killer everything. You'll find that some things do some things well, some things do other things poorly. Head units, iPhone quad lock out front for non-serious bikers. Yeah, for sure, Robert. Yeah, that'll work. Lots of discussion / debates online about whether a phone can be used as a bike computer. Absolutely it can. It's not designed as a bike computer though. It's designed as a phone. And because of that you'll get less ruggedness than a bike computer. You can get away with that with putting a screen on, screen protector on, a quad lock case on. Battery life will kill you. Dirty cans at 200, estimated time between, we're going downtown, we're good. 15 to 20 hours, the dirty cans are, oof, no, okay. The quick answer for that, on almost any head unit for a 15 to 20 hour ride, would be a battery pack, an external battery pack with a USB. I've done a video on that. You can get a little lipstick battery, little tiny micro USB, some Velcro, or get creative and wire it up somehow on the front. That'd be the way to go for full usage over that time. Maybe even a backlight on if you had a big enough little battery on there. But yeah, drops the feather at 1%. Let's go, come on. But the drop, come on. Why aren't I? Oh. Had the drop a feather at 0%. That climb was hitting too hard. The true answer would be battery save mode on the 530 or 830 or 1030 Garmin's. I think Slane did a big long gravel ride where power doesn't matter. Power, you just ride those things. It's tempo. You're never at FTP or above unless you're going up a climb, short climb. I think Slane was on battery save mode, which is turns the screen off, saves all your data, GPS location, all your sensor data, and you can have it pop up when something happens. So you can have a Garmin head unit in battery save mode and have it only come awake when there's a radar alert for the car coming back, or as a turn for navigation, or a text or a call comes through. I think Slane did a 17-hour ride, 14 hour ride, and had 70% battery still on his 830. Phenomenal. Oh, you can also touch the screen on the touchscreen ones to bring them back to life temporarily. So that's a workaround. That doesn't help you with the current tech that you have. I'd go a lipstick battery. Do a trial run first though, of 17 hours riding. Oh yeah, this saddle it's not growing on me at all. Jesus. Where are we going now? Back for a standard lap of Watopia and call it a day. That'll get us to about 75 Ks. I'll see how I hold up. 11:23. We're still cruising. 147 viewers. Appreciate people tuning in. It's always good to have company for these longer rides. Yeah, the 60 frames is nice. It's even nicer in person in 4K in front of me. You're only seeing the downscaled 1080 at the moment. I'm the encoded, pixelated crap version that YouTube make it. I think I've tweaked the settings a bit. Titans Grove now on Ocean Boulevard, thank you. Screen requirements for the Apple TV. Mate, the Apple TV, as long as it's HDMI, you're good. Not sure if it'll work in 720. Probably should. As long as it's HDMI input, you should be fine. But The screen type makes a big difference to the experience you're having. I configured this 4K PC the other day with a gaming screen, sitting up nice and close to it. It's a video editing screen that I have. It looked brilliant. And then I just plugged it into the 1080 screen here temporarily. Looked like crap. Same machine, same everything. The visuals were horrible. And even the cheaper 4K television that I had, horrible, horrible. So when people say, does the Apple TV produce good images or does it look good? It can. You have to have the right screen for it though. And that's something that I don't think I've ever seen discussed a lot in any forum posts or Zwift riders or even on any of the content that I've made. It's hard to have experience across multiple screens. And typically in your pain cave, you'll get the hand-me-down screen from the family room. So it's going to be a few years old anyway. But if you're going new, yeah, I'd go something with, I should do a video on this. It's hard to show screen quality though, as I was saying before, when people are consuming the content on crappy screens anyway. Even on the phone, you can't really see the difference. It's definitely an in-person thing you need to check out. Oh, road feel. Was I in the big ring? I'm in the big ring. I'm in the 52.11. Speeding out a bit quick. What's the hardest day I've ever had on the bike? Oh. I've had different hard days. The 10-hour Sufferfest knighthood was pretty tough. But then I've done 20k time trials that I couldn't talk or walk afterwards. I've done the kilo on the track, which on the last lap, you're in a whole different world of darkness. And that's only, I think I did 1:07, I think, my track time. Hey, Bubba. So it depends. You can make it as hard or as easy as you like. Got the cameo of your feet. Hey, mate. Yeah. How you doing, Bubba? You good? We've got 66.6 Ks, mate. That's pretty evil. Come here, bub. Here's little Maxie. You won't see his face on the screen, but you'll see his toes. Max is a bit shy. We keep him off the channel pretty much. There's your toes. You got sprinter's legs? There we go. Little llama feet, hey? Having fun, Bubba? Dad's gonna go up the hill. Ready? And there's a lot of people watching. Everyone say go to Max. Max is watching the comments. You watching, Bub? He loves the bikes. I'm gonna go to about 75 Ks. Probably another 20. Then we get some lunch. Max had lunch. Off. Max, push for me, mate. Push. The Apple TV will only render, the Apple TV 4K will only render the game in 1080. It's still displayed in 4K resolution though, so the menus are all in 4K. Looks nice and crisp. What do you think, Max? Crisp? Definitely worth going to the 4K version of Apple TV, cost-wise. The 32 meg or 32 gig version is fine.
Oh, seems smooth.
It's smooth, it's smooth. It sounds like I'm stepping on a mouse every pedal stroke for the Shimano cleats though. Yeah. Oh, it's good to be off this saddle for a bit. Lee says, hi Max. Hey Mike, thanks for subscribing.
Oh, that's cute.
If you're not a subscriber, hit that button. You'll make another little llama dance, as well as this little one next to me. Oh, good ride though.
Yeah.
Just chill.
That's good.
2 hours 15 is what I need in the legs. There we go. Yeah, there are a lot of small little details on the PC that you'll get that you won't get on a couple of the other systems. I think my best comparison was about a year or two ago when the Apple TV 4K came out. I did a lot of side by side. That video took a few days. I'm thinking of doing the same with this, but given that I'm up to 4K level of detail, it's hard to show. I might give a basic overview, but then thinking about that, if I give one overview of this between the old one, people will still ask about the 4K Apple TV. Leave me with it. See what I can do. Tour of Innsbruck starting in a couple of minutes. Not a chance. Have you seen the numbers? Let's have a look at those. Where's phone focus? The numbers of entries, phenomenal. More events. So if you want to join an event whilst you're doing a ride, you can do it. 978. Starting right now. It's go time. Last night there was 2,000 people signed up for one of the tour of Innsbrucks. And then early this morning, 6 a.m, I think there was another 1,000 or 1,700. That's phenomenal. No, Steve, no signal drops on this ride because I disabled the dual broadcast of Ant and Ant plus FEC, or Ant FEC on the Neo bike. So I think that's what the issue was. So there's 2 hours, no drops. Happy days, happy days. A cropped view with OBS are in what regard, sorry? Mad about stage one, your lead in, doing the lap of the com. So Steve, I did notice that. The tour of, let me get this full screen so we can have a chat. The stage one of Tour of Innsbruck appeared to start at the top of the KOM. And that's the first thing I thought. There's no starting gate up there, so how are they going to do it? So you're telling me the lead-in is a climb up the hill from the original start gates in town. Is that it? I don't know whether it was Ant Plus for sure, but that's the one change I've made with this bike that has changed something. Well, it's made it better. So I'll put it down to that until I'm shown otherwise or proven otherwise. It still could be the next door neighbour having a Wi-Fi party on channel 10. What time of night was that? It was probably some website that was streaming things you shouldn't have been. I can't, so the lead-in is up the com. I'll have to have a look on Strava and sniff other people's rides. That's nuts. I'll show you, because on screen here, where are we? Phone focus? Yeah. There. So the route start, I can't zoom in. That's the I'm running Tour of Daryl. Okay, good stuff. All right, Daryl, I'm going to find you and give you a ride on. I just got to think of how to do that because I'm on a different course. But Daryl, can you confirm you're heading out of town up the KOM before the race even starts? Oof. That's all I've got to say about that. What a shafting. Hey, look, if everyone's in the same boat, though, it's in the same boat. But it would be nice if they counted that as part of the course, given it's only, what, a 24K climb? So it's only 24K, not the short way. I'm talking about the long I'm only laughing because I'm not doing it. I think the message around racing and events could be a little clearer. I think. Oh shit! No, definitely, Ryan. It's not the star for me. Any race that I've ever done that had a neutral rollout was a few kilometers. That's it, and it's typically flat, so everyone can bunch up. You don't send everyone up the climb and then you start an event. Right, Daryl, where are you, mate? I'll give you a ride on. So, if I go more, find Swifters. D-A, how many Dazzers are there? R-Y-L. Okay, so this is how to do it in real time. A lot of Daryls. M-O-N. How many Darylmon? There we go. Dude, how many of you is there? I'm guessing, given you're hardcore enough to be riding that, and you're in the stream, and you're hardcore on Zwift, and that's your image right there. Here we go. Let's have a look at Daryl's stats. Right on. Done. I'm not going to hit fan view because I'm not quite sure what bug that will summon on Zwift. Sorry, I shouldn't call it a bug. I don't even want to try that. I've got 70Ks in the bank. We're heading home. We're on the home straight. We'll go to the start-finish banner here in Watopia. Simon, thanks for subscribing, mate. Much appreciated. That keeps the channel ticking along. It really does. I've had, I think, positive subscriber numbers. Discounting any cleanup from YouTube, which they clean up either dormant accounts or banned accounts or anything. Those days, I think I've had positive subscriber numbers every single day for nearly 3.5 years. So, it's been good. It's been good. Daryl, 64, rock and roll, mate. You're only as old as your FTP. That's what they say, isn't it? Good stuff, mate. Nearly 7,500 Ks on Zwift. Nice one. Yeah, where does the short version of Tour of Innsbruck start? if the long version still goes up the climb and then only is 24, I don't know. Jim Hansen, welcome aboard. Oh, the Tron party. Dodge. So the graphics that I'm seeing here look absolutely fabulous. I was going to say fabrilliant. That looks super cool from here. I'm not sure if it's coming through on the stream the same, or whether it may be a little washed out, but that's looking cool. There we go. Rock and roll. Any questions? Fire away. Happy to answer anyone's questions, or if you have any tech issues with what you're using. Pretty much, if it exists indoors, I may have ridden it, or read about it, or broken it. Life is too short to ride shit equipment, so if you're having any issues, never put up with them. Always seek that better experience. Of course, on Watopia, this is just I'm just doing the standard Watopia Hilly at the moment, 9.2 Ks. Do I miss my gravel bike? Well, it wasn't mine, but it was a gravel bike that I had. Yeah, I do. So that went back to Canyon. So I have the pedals and I have the shoes. Just don't have the bike anymore. What's the sprint comp? If it's under 25, if it's over 25, I'll go for the sprint. Which means I have to bank some speed here anyway. Come on, flip over. 24.8, I think we might be able to get that. Out of gears. Here we go. Oh. Just. What's that smell? That's the Neo smell. And me. Neo bike still smells. 5211 virtual gearing. Early on, I felt undergeared. That was fine at the end when I started fading there. So that wasn't bad. All right. And the hardest part about this is the recovery is up this damn climb. Give me a moment. Jim, the pedals went well. No issues whatsoever on the Asiomas for the conversion. I've got to find another gravel bike though. They will be my go-to travel shoes and travel pedals though, for sure. Heading over to Sea Otter this year, that's what I'll take. Come on, heart rate. Down, boy. If I hit G, I can just, there's the graphs there of my heart rate. There's my chill recovery ride. Zwift effect. Yeah, this hill, oof. Brutal. The graphics really dim out at night. See, that's with the lighting that's cool there, the moon. So I believe the clipping, for me it was around 800 watts. I think the clipping is technically, and I was alerted of this after I did a video on it, saying it was around 800 watts. I think it's 2.5 times your FTP is where it clips at. That's why you're seeing a flat line there on the graph. But the flat line is only a visual. Zwift will still push me a lot further than that. If my sprint was up here, that's the in-game experience. Just the visual, so I don't have a big red spike up my butt in a few moments on the graph on screen. A good indication there of the visual heart rate lag. You can see there my max heart rate was after I finished the effort. That was still a 24 second, 25 second effort. So about 16 seconds to come up and really start responding. And about the same for recovery. That's all right. Whew. Yeah, I think Des, Ray and I will see the same as last year. That's the plan for the moment, which is good, getting the trio back together. Okay, a couple of good questions coming through, which might take me past the start finish, but let me get to them. Kick a core, Luke Smith. When you're in certain gears, there's some clicking noises and some chain rubbing. Hard to tell. If it's only certain gears, it shouldn't be indexing. Shouldn't be, but still could be. So check the indexing, or have someone check that for you. Clicking in certain gears and certain noises could also be wear on the cassette. If it's a new cassette and then old chain, that's not good. If it's a old cassette, new chain, still not good. They need to be relatively matched, well matched, new, or worn in and worn in. Give that a shot. What about 74k? I better wrap this up. I've been going too long anyway. 2.5 is good enough. I was going to go do a wild lap at the volcano. So, hard to tell, Luke. And it's one of those things where you almost need two people. Someone to ride the bike and someone down with their nose near the cassette. Or eyes, at least, to have a look at what's going on. Yes, Canyon online order only. Yeah, good call, Steve. That's why Canyon are a good value bike, because they have cut out the stock holding in shops and things. So yeah, there's give or take there. That's why I did appreciate the test ride day that Canyon Australia held. Really handy. I wouldn't order one straight off without riding it first, so the test demo ride was great. Okay, can I please explain how the green jersey, polka dot and jerseys are won or awarded? Did I lose that already? C. Davis, what did you do, dude? Good job. Oh no, that's the women's jersey. Okay, so we can have a look at what's going on here by clicking the green. Okay, 2.93. Tier. Smashed me. Good job. That's a good full out sprint. 22.9. Nice one. So the green jersey here, it's a rolling 60 second only in game. It's the same with any of these green jerseys for the live results. So my time that I set there will hold in that that list. I'll keep writing as I explain this. Will hold in that list for 60 minutes after I finish that time. And it's the same with the epic com, small com, sprints, any of those dots down here. So they're rolling 60-minute lifetimes of the numbers that you set. But TR set that time after me, so that time will be around for the 60 minutes after he set that time. Hopefully that makes sense. Now from there, if TR leaves the game, I get the jersey. I inherit that jersey because he's no longer in game. So they're live results, live leaderboards, 60-minute rolling based on the time set. And any time that's going to expire, we'll have a little clock next to it. I'll see if I can find one here. There we go. So right here, Gplama has that showing that that time is soon going to expire and be disappeared and taken off that list. Here, Elp to Zwift. Oh, some good times up Elp to Zwift. Repack Ridge. Oh, and here, there's a lot of people here with, I'm not quite sure what the half moon is, whether that's 5 minutes counting down or anything, but so that's those KOMs. Now they're in-game KOMs, only calculated in Zwift. That doesn't go to Strava until you upload after. But Strava is still a separate server. Somebody asked the other day, why are my comms in-game different to comms on Strava? They're two separate companies and two separate ways of interpreting where starts and finishes are. The comms on Strava are exactly like outdoors. People have created their own segment and said it starts about here, finishes about here, which won't be to the meter accurate with what's in game. So your times won't be 1 for 1. Zwift could probably auto insert those, probably, or maybe even work with Strava to put those timers on Strava's correct segments, but there's still not going to be down to the 100th of a second or thousandth of a second accuracy. So it's going to be a little different there. Well, I've got to keep going to at least round up to 76 Ks. So we'll see how we go. Please make a video shopping for your new gravel bike. I've got to keep testing them though. I'm not sold on any yet. But yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. How much higher is my sprint power outdoors and indoors? Probably about 100 to 150 watts outdoors, because you can get the full leverage of the bike moving side to side. And a rocker plate, you cannot do that. Don't get me started. Rocker plates have their place. It's not for practicing your sprint technique for maximum wattage though at all. It's the way they move, it's just different. Outdoors is where you'll get maximum leverage on the bike and pull up. And ideally, that's if you want to be good at sprints, you've got to practice your sprints outdoors. There's so much more to sprinting than there is just putting out power. About gear change, timing, bike handling, judging the wind, your bike position, grading of the road, distance. You might be able to put out a shit ton of power over 200 meters, but 200 meters into the wind is going to be a different time altogether. You might fade too quickly. So, hey Nathan Gorilla, how are we doing? I think the stream's looking okay, Nathan. I was talking to Nathan yesterday about the stream quality on YouTube. It's not as good as on Twitch, but I think it's okay. It's good enough, as long as this audio is good. That's what matters. So sprint indoors is different. You can work on your fitness and strength indoors. Technique, you got to get outdoors. You've got to get outdoors for sprint technique. 2 hours 30 in. Hell yeah. I'm going to 77.7 Ks. Let's do it. Max is going off. It is almost time for me to go. Here he goes. Vaughn's out there. He's all good. So before we had kids, a crying baby used to annoy me. And if it's annoying you, I'm sorry. But now as a dad, you know that's a healthy kid with a set of healthy lungs. And it's only temporary whinging. It's the best sound ever. Makes me smile now when I hear the kids crying like that. Not because they're agitated, but better than him being limp and silent. That would scare me. Yeah, Nathan, I'm not sure. It was totally the Ingress server that was the difference. Now today, My frames lost due to the rendering lag, 0.6%. Frame skip due to encoding lags, 0.7%. So next to nothing. And at 60 frames a second, a couple of lost frames here and there. Don't mean anything at 60 frames a second. But the other day it was horrible, horrible, horrible. And then straight after that, switching to Twitch. Exactly the same settings on everything, like same. All I did was change Ingress server and streaming key, and everything was entirely different. Yeah, it made me happy that this machine was still a good choice. I've gone past 77.8. Okay, we have to keep going. There's a downhill around the corner. We'll get to 78. We'll go this direction. Solid ride, probably one of the longer ones I've done on Zwift for now. No, I'm pushing 1080 at 60. Pushing 4K is... I've got the bandwidth to push 4K. I've got 36 megabit up, which should be able to push that, no worries. But the rendering of that would be pretty crap. Unless I get a separate renderer, but I don't want to spend $3,000 on Australian on this machine. Have to buy something else to render it. But this is sort of my problem with USB ports. I was running out of USB ports on the other machine. I had 8 devices running, it was horrible. Do we go to 80? Thumbs up for 80. We're doing 80. Yeah, 4K streaming is not required either. It looked nice enough in 1080 at 60. But 4K here in front of me though is so nice. It is so nice. Nathan, I was riding the America's Hump Day ride yesterday. Day before? Thursday. And I could see a bunch up the road, but not only the bunch, the formation of the bunch. They weren't a blob, they were in a line. So I could tell way up the road, by a few hundred meters, that they had the pressure on. I mean, you can tell anyway in the stats, but just to visually see that, the racer in me said, they're not going easy, they're not slowing down. We have to keep pulling hard turns to catch them. I never thought you'd see that difference in 4K, but you do. Do I have the Wahoo desk? That's exactly what's in front of me right now. Is it worth the price? Value and worth is a hard one for me. If you use it every day, for sure. Life's too short to use an ironing board for Zwift. So yeah, it's handy. It needs to be pimped up a little bit. The desk needs power and USB. I think I need to start a little project to pimp up my Zwift desk. Have I been eating at all banana chips? Banana chips, I wouldn't mind a few banana chips. I've had one bar, just one muesli bar. It's been a pretty chilled ride, so I'm not hungry. I will be after this. And it's lunchtime, so that's a win-win. Desert flats now, it should get us to the 80Ks. Nathan got an adjustable ironing table, Nathan? No, Nathan has a really good setup. In the, technically the Gplama film studio, I have a desk that I can sit at or stand at on hydraulics. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. But it's all about finding, and it's a constant daily task of mine to find what is better, not necessarily what's the best, what can you optimize. So the current setup in front of me here, it's pretty optimized. I have the Stream Deck screen switcher, the phone sitting here on a quad lock. The tax bike is dead quiet, that helps. Three Cliff Bars, damn! I love a good Cliff Bar. I was a bit over them though on my last trip to the US. Right now, don't talk about food. I'll definitely get hungry. What have we got? 5 minutes. I reckon in 5 minutes I can get over this little hill and then use the desert flats downhill to get to 82Ks. Okay, how did I get to the sprint table before? So over on the side, when I can get my mouse alive, when those leaderboards pop up over there, which they're not now, the little dots on the bottom, you can scroll through every different KOM and see those. So that's how you get to those while you're riding around. But that's if you've got leaderboards shown all the time. Mine's only whenever you're near one to pop up. Will I be testing the rotor in Spider soon? Yeah, rotor have stopped emailing me back though. There was supply issues with the Inspider. No pro teams were running them in Adelaide. I hope so, because based on what I'm seeing from the Chinese power meters that I'm testing that are the same, yeah, rotor are going to have a pretty good product. So happy to test it as soon as I can get a hold of one. And whatever I can get access to, I can ride, test, and comment on. We're going to go over this hill and get this downhill 3Ks. Bernard's got the Zumo, nice one. Yeah, the Zumo was a slow cooker. I think they've got it right now with the firmware. But I was impressed that my testing on the unit that I had was impressive for what it was. You're not going to get the $1,000 plus ride experience out of it, but you'll get damn close. I did on mine anyway. Apple TV, I'm not sure you can go through. Here we go, here's the downhill. Here's where I get an extra K for free. And Max still screams at me. Apple TV, I believe you navigating through that with Apple TV. That level of fidelity, you know, with that that controller, yeah, I could think of better things to do, like upgrade to a PC. Apple TV is still a good version of Zwift to run on those. It'll work fine. Downhill, come on, let's go. Enjoy your dinner, Nathan. I still remember the good meal we had there over in Vegas. I think we all sat around after the race a few years back. We had a great meal with everyone. Good times. More of those to come, mate, when we catch up next time for sure. The Vegas I was referring to there for everyone else was the one Nathan, it was CVR, when CVR were using Zwift as their platform. Veronica and myself were over there representing Australia. Nathan was on mic. This was before esports cycling was esports cycling. Brilliant. Brilliant experience. Good time. That was cutting edge back then. What CVR were doing with the Zwift platform, how it was being put together. The replay's still online. If you type CVR Vegas Zwift, it should still be up somewhere. And that's definitely a once in a lifetime experience to be involved in something like that. My outdoor riding took me all around Australia and racing, and we did Fiji and a few other things, but yeah, indoor riding taking me across the world was just something else indeed. Such a good event. 82, we better call it a day there. Hey look everyone, thanks so much for coming along for the ride, really appreciate it. Love doing these streams. Makes my time tick over so much faster than doing it by myself. Love the questions, the interaction there. I appreciate the views and the time. And any subscribers, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. That's what keeps things ticking along and this channel sort of up in the air and in the ballpark for YouTube to be happy with it. So that's all good. And there's another almost 3 hours in the bank on the tax bike. And even more reason for me to change this saddle out. And the brakes work as well. All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much. Hopefully the stream's gone all right again. It's still a bit of testing with everything. I think the mic's a little better here. I'll get it all sorted out. But yeah, I appreciate everyone dropping by. And what was going to be an easy ride turned into a green jersey sprint. Happy days. Hey, enjoy your weekend. Nathan, enjoy your meal with your family. And everyone else, have a great day. We shall see you next time. Cheers.